30, flirty, and thriving. 30, flirty, and thriving. Have you ever heard of the term called the panic years? This is a book by Nell Fritzel, and in the book she talks about the period in life between your late 20s and your early 30s. This is when everything starts to feel really intense, especially for women. At that age or at that time, we're supposed to have everything figured out. Relationships, careers, lifestyle, have kids, not have kids, and it's a lot. Where to live, what to do. Nell describes it as the pressure cooker of decisions and social expectations, and it's not just about personal milestones, it's also about the pressure to achieve certain things by a certain age. So I guess everyone's felt this way, or I know I have. The fear of turning 30, thinking about it or just saying it out loud, it almost sounds, I don't know, like hearing it myself, it sounds ridiculous because I'm like, there's nothing wrong with being 30. There's nothing wrong with being 30 plus. I know a lot of amazing people who are, in their 30s and in their 40s and everything, and they're amazing people. So it's like, why is it that I'm so afraid, or why am I so afraid of like this period and this time? And lots of people have done it and they've gone through it. So I'll speak for myself. Personally, for me, I'm like, okay, everyone that I know that's above 30 or like living in their 30s or in their 40s or 50s, they're amazing people. Like, I don't think I know anyone who's not amazing. So I know such amazing people who are doing such wonderful things. And so then I think it wasn't really about like comparison, but like, oh, I want to do or have exactly what they have. But it was more so of they're doing such amazing things and they seem to have it all figured out, and I'm like, I don't seem to have it figured out. I'm like, I'm running around like a headless chicken. I've never seen a headless chicken, but just what I imagine a headless chicken is like, just like, my head's on fire, what do I do? That's what it sort of, feels like or felt like. So I was just like, oh my God, like people have like, they're also looking at people and I'm like, oh, they're so grounded and they really know themselves and they know what they want and what they don't want, what they like and they don't like. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I have an idea, but I don't fully, it's not fully like stamped into print, stamped into book and sealed and printed. So I'm just like, oh no, oh no, this is scary. And I feel like a lot of the times, like for women or for girls, like the age between late 20s and early 30s, it's where it's like you're deciding, okay, do you want to have kids? Do you not want to have kids? Where do you want to live? What do you want to do for your career? Because I think perhaps like in the earlier years of your 20s, and now I honestly think it's probably, I feel like for the younger generation, they probably have even more pressure because like, I guess with, let me say, more people on social media, there's just like, people have like houses and it's like, oh, I've done this by 20, I've done this by 19, I have this 6-figure business and all of that. And it's like, whoa. I don't know if also the fear of, turning 30 or being in your 30s comes from the idea that perhaps you didn't get to do it all in your 20s. And I think especially because you experienced the pandemic skip. And the pandemic skip is whereby, because of the pandemic, we sort of had, I guess, 2 years at home. And usually what happens, because we didn't mentally celebrate like occasions like birthdays and parties and like all of these things that we're used to, our minds didn't fully register that like 2 years have passed. So it was sort of like, even after we got out of the Rona, we sort of still were stuck in the year or the age that we were coming into it. I don't know if that makes sense. And then usually like your mind just uses like certain like specific occasions to like calculate and like balance time. But of course, because now we're out of it, we're slowly like recalibrating. But then you can also have the feeling of, oh no, time was taken from me. You didn't get to do all the wild things that you probably wanted to do. There's no limit of like trying new things. It's not that you turn 30 and it's like, boom, you can no longer try new things. You have to be this like cutthroat. This is what you say, this is what you do, this is where you must live, this is how many children you must have, this is the car you must drive. No, there's no rule that says that. Nairobi weather just keeps changing. I had to take off the stitch onesie even though it was like feeling my vibe. This is the time or the period in your life whereby things are also starting to no longer be measurable. So usually when you go to school, you finish school, you go to school, high school, everyone's about the same age when you finish high school. Then you go to university, everyone's about the same age. When you go to uni, then you start getting internships and everything. Everyone is usually around the same age at the same time during that period. But then when you start to get into your late 20s and early 30s, people are starting to have different things that they want in life. People are starting to, maybe they want to try something else, they want to move here. Like, stuff is no longer measurable, and the chances that you get are no longer the same. It's no longer more of like streamlined, even though generally in life nothing's ever streamlined. Some people are at the front of the class, some people are at the back. Little parable, it's like, okay, you should never compare yourself to somebody, because if you're in a classroom and this teacher says throw a piece of paper into the bin, and the bin is at the front of the class, the person who's closest to the front will have an easier time aiming it and throwing it into the bin, as opposed to somebody who's at the back. Even though the person in the back might be trying really, really hard, it's not as easy for them, because also they just can't see the bin to begin with. So that's just like a little don't compare yourself to other people parable that I heard a long time ago. So your feelings and your worries are completely valid, and don't allow yourself into feeling like they're not. Don't allow yourself to think, oh, it's crazy to think this way. It's crazy to worry about turning 30. It's crazy to worry about being in your 30s. No. I have the experience of being a 30-year-old with 7 months, and I can tell you it's no different. I feel like once the day actually happens, once the day actually passes, you're like, oh, that's it? Like, I was hoping I was gonna get smacked in the face with some wisdom, and I was like, no, I'm still the same fool. Maybe now it's just like, oh, my knees. No, your knees don't start hurting immediately. I guess it's just gradual, and I guess it's just one of those things of where sometimes you hear from older people, it's like, okay, you need to take a little bit more better care of your health, you need to consider what you're eating, and which is true. And it's not just about like being 30, like, okay, suddenly you start taking care of yourself. No, this is something that you should be doing throughout, just so that when you are getting to this stage, or you are getting to this phase, it's a little bit easier because you've developed it as a habit. But also, it's never, in terms of eating healthy and working out, it's never too late to start. So birthdays can be a lot, especially when it's the big 3-0. Well, actually, it shouldn't be that big. I think society makes it big. There's lots of lists and everything. But anyway, we're talking about birthdays. So for me, I'm a December baby, and that often comes with, I'm like, okay, it's December, it's Christmas, and then there's the New Year. So I always feel like a lot of pressure during that time. And I mean, I don't know if anybody else can relate, but it's just like New Year, it's like New Year, new me. So it's like also December, it's like, okay, what have you achieved in the year so far? And I'm just like just freaking out completely. And I don't know, I think there's just a lot of pressure, and people also sometimes expect you to have this grand plan, and if you're anything like me, you just end up worrying about everybody else. It's like, are people having a good time, or is the food great, is the place great? And then sometimes you worry so much that you don't end up enjoying your own birthday, and it can feel exhausting. But here's the thing, it's your birthday, so it's about you. So you need to make sure that you're enjoying it and you're having a good time. Just focus on, I guess, the things that would make you happy, or the things that would bring you joy for your birthday. I mean, especially if it's the birthday that society puts so much pressure on. Focus on that. And also, if you don't want to do something grand, if you don't want to do something big, that's also okay. You don't have to. Like this, if you just want to, be by yourself and think, reflect, or not even think and reflect, you just want it's a birthday. It's fine. That's also fine. Don't feel any pressure from the outside to have to do something grand and big if you don't want to. Okay, so why is 30 such a big deal? Society puts so much emphasis on this. It's like there's all of these lists, like Forbes 30 under 30, and then there's 30, and like all of these expectations of where you should be at this stage in life. I don't know if anyone's ever felt that pressure from all of that, but it's like we're supposed to have our careers figured out, maybe even have a house. Some people expect us to have started a family. It's like, yeah, you're 30, where's your offspring? It's like you're above 30.
Why are you still judging people? Why ain't everybody business? You know, get out of my business.
It's like if you scroll through social media, there's a lot of like, okay, these are 30 things I must do before I turn 30. There's a lot of bucket lists, and there's like, you know, there's just a lot. I feel like there's a lot of things and a lot of focus put on 30, and I think especially because it's already a time with so much pressure, all of these other external factors just add more to the pressure.
Celebrating my 30th birthday while sitting in a
It's like, okay, you turn 30, you don't have a house, you don't have offspring, and it's like, do you even want offspring? You know, it's like, no, does anybody ask? It's like, do you want to live in a house? What if you want to be a digital nomad? It's like, or you want to live in the forest, you know, foraging berries. Like, why must it be set in stone in a certain way and style and manner? Let's just be real for a moment. Life doesn't go in a straight path, and if you haven't hit all of those milestones, that's completely fine. You can make your own milestones. What matters is that you're doing the best for you and you're doing what brings you joy. Sit down with yourself and think, do you really want that house and car? And like, do you really want it? Or is it because you've seen other people with it and you're thinking, yeah, that's what I should have too? You know, if you really like sit down with yourself and just think to yourself, like, is this something you truly want? And if it is something that you truly want, then you can definitely work towards it, but then not achieving it in the set time that you're seeing other people achieve it. Don't put that pressure on yourself. It's unnecessary. So when I turned 30, I did a lot of, you know, self-reflection. And I don't know why I do this. I spend a lot of time thinking about things around my birthday, and it always makes me sad. Like, I should spend less time thinking and more time just, you know, enjoying. But, you know, it's just all of the reflecting. And then I guess also, as I explained earlier, because it's the end of year, I'm just like spiraling. And I guess sometimes a lot of people do that around their birthday. You're just like, okay, what have I achieved? What have I not achieved? If you look at that year and you're probably just looking at milestones, it's like, okay, did you make the most out of the year, out of like having, you know, full on joy? Were you like really happy, or were you stressed most of the year? You know, because even if you have all of these milestones like a car and whatever, it's like it stressed you out quite a bit. Fortunately, when I had my birthday, I was able to sort of tone down the thinking, and I was like, okay, I just want to celebrate my birthday and, you know, celebrate the growth that I've achieved so far. You know, I'm like, a few years back I was just like spiraling so much, and then now I'm like, oh, I'm spiraling less, which is great. That's something to celebrate. And like, I'm, you know, I'm less like woo. I'm still woo, like woo, fun, but not like my mind is not fighting me. So I'm like, that's definitely something to celebrate. I've achieved something in my own way. So just try to focus on the things that you've achieved in your own way. And I know sometimes it can feel like, oh, I haven't achieved anything, but you definitely have. Just going around the sun 30 times is not easy. It's not easy. You've like winters, summers. If you live in the equator, then it's like hot, cold, rain, you know? You've done that several times. Okay, so it's not just magazines that emphasize on, you know, being 30. It's TV shows as well.
I turned 30.
That means I'm turning 30.
I've made a list, so I have to look down. Okay, so remember Friends? There's that iconic episode where everyone's turning 30.
Happy 30th birthday. Here. I turned 30 today. Because it's our 30th birthday.
And each character reflects on their lives and what they've achieved. It's funny and relatable, but it also shows that it's okay to have mixed feelings about that milestone. Like, it's okay to not just be super happy. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to be sad. Then there's the famous 13 going 30, where Jennifer Garner's character magically jumps from being 13 to 30, and it's like a whimsical look.
30 and flirty and thriving. 30 and flirty and thriving.
It's like what we think as children, what we would think being an adult is like, and when we're young, and how different like reality can actually be. Because I guess when you're younger, you're like, oh, I want to be older so bad, and then now you get older, it's like, no, I want to be younger. I just want to run in the field and jump in a bouncing castle, and you can still do that. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. If you want to jump in a jumping castle and you're whatever age you are, do it. Do what brings you joy. Do it, okay? Don't let anyone stop you. I'm gonna have a face painter at my next birthday, and I want to have a trampoline or a bouncing castle. I hope I remember to do that, but Quick side note, for my birthday, I was like, I want people to play a game, so I made a giant Monopoly. It didn't have my face on it, but the money had my face on it. I had a giant Monopoly, and then I named all the streets after like different neighborhoods within Nairobi, and then people were like standing and had to play. I didn't get to play it fully, and I feel like, would it be weird to bring it out to just random occasions? It's like, here guys, let's play Monopoly. It has my face on it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll do it. I printed that game. I'll make a whole video on how I did that. But and then let's not forget Sex in the City, dealing with careers, relationships, and personal growth. You know, it's all about finding your own path and embracing the chaos of life. I feel like oftentimes when you think about your 20s, you're like, oh, this is just that chaotic time. And I think it's because at that stage, people are maybe a little bit more free. People will take more drastic or like wild decisions as compared to like later in life. I think because maybe perhaps the older you become, the more cautious you are. Whereas I don't like living in fear like stops us so much. It stops us and holds us back so much. So like if you can just like grab life by the ovaries and just do it, Nike, just do it. You know, I think that's always the best path. Like if whatever you want to do, don't not do something because you're afraid of failing or afraid of what people will think, because if you don't do it, you're going to worry for the rest of your life, like, what if I did that thing? What if I took that bold step? Look at me, a motivational speaker. Yeah. So yeah, those are a few of the TV shows that, you know, bring up some, just like normalize being 30 and life in your 30s or like late 20s. So, you know, if you just want some comfort TV, I guess that's something you could check out. So it's easy to get caught up in what we should have done by now and also comparing ourselves to others. I've been there. You know, wondering if I've been left behind. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I think that's how I can express what I felt like, or what it sort of feels like also. And I'm not just giving this speech to you, but I'm giving this speech to myself, you know, so I can listen to it and like acknowledge, okay, this, what you're saying, you know, put it into practice. But I've learned, and I'm slowly learning, to shift the focus away from what we have achieved in terms of society's terms to our own achievements, and you know, what we've accomplished on our own terms. Like I would say for me, just having this channel, I mean, I feel like I speak about this quite often, but just having this channel, like, it was a huge mental block for me. Like I look back and like, if you look at when I first opened this channel, it's 2013. You would be like, girl, why'd you upload your first video like a year ago? What were you doing all this time? It was fear. It was literal fear, like fear of failing, or, you know, fear of being seen, fear of speaking up, fear of speaking my mind, like just like literal fear. But for me, just overcoming it and being able to do it, I'm like, yeah. So, you know, think about the little achievement that you've achieved for yourself. So these achievements that we've made for ourselves, this is what defines us, and not just ticking some checklist or bucket list that's put online or in a magazine or in a book. You've got your own amazing story, so celebrate it. Celebrate your own unique journey, whatever it may be. So here's the thought. What if we focus on things that really bring us joy, or things that really make us happy? So when I turned 30, I was like, oh, I want to have all my friends, because like they bring me joy, they make me happy, and I love them. So I was like, oh, I want to have that. And I'm like, oh, I want to have something in the garden. It was difficult because December, oh my God, everything is booked and full and busy. But, you know, I was still able, like, whatever, I'm like, and the Monopoly that I explained before. So I was just like, I want to do everything that brings me joy. So a few things that I've learned along the way. So you always need to reflect with kindness, you know, celebrate your achievements and growth. Be gentle with yourself. Set boundaries. It's okay to say no to plans if you don't want to go. If you just want to be a homebody, that's completely fine. Don't do things that will make you sad after. Plan for joy. Like, actually plan for joy. Don't be, I feel like sometimes people will have birthdays and then not plan anything and then be sad if nobody's planned anything, and it's like, the birthday is yours. You were born by yourself, unless you're a twin, but the birthday is yours, you know, like it's not always, don't always expect people to do things for you. Sometimes you have to do things for yourself. So don't be sad if like, oh, people haven't planned it. No, plan it yourself. And also embrace flexibility. You know, be open to changing your plans if you change your mind, and you know, don't, if it's getting too stressful, you can just be like, tone it down. So you start to feel more confident with yourself, in who you are and what you want, and you've got this, I guess you get a little bit of a clearer sense, not always, but you know, you just start to develop like a clearer sense. You still have moments of doubt, and we all have moments of doubt, but it's almost of like a new level of self-assurance. I mean, it doesn't smack you in the face immediately you turn 30 and it's like, yeah, I'm bold, I'm the boss, alien superstar. No, not immediately, but like it just slowly, gradually grows. And you know, because I feel like the older you become, the more things that you've done to please other people, and then you're just tired, you're like, no. So then, you know, you're just more assured of what you like. So it's just something that develops with time, and it could even start earlier. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, 30, okay, I know what I want. No, or it could come even later on. Something else I hear a lot of people freaking out about turning older, getting older, is that the like not being able to make new friends or not being able to make friends, also because people sometimes just become busier. But to that I say, start new group hobbies. Like if you can go for sip and paint, or a pottery class, or Pilates, or something, or just whatever it is, or like acting, whatever it is, like just start something. Start new hobbies that can also allow you to meet new people and different people, so that when you have like, so when your current friends are busy, you don't feel left out or like you're falling behind or falling back. Because also it's always great, you know, you can still have like your central group of friends, but also just to open up your mind a little bit, you know, maybe perhaps your friends believe in the spaghetti ball monster, you know, just so you can have different perspectives as well. It helps a little, I think. I was also just thinking back to how I was freaking out about turning 30, and like also if you just look back at my channel, like last year I was like, okay, I gotta do this, 75 days of this, I've got this, I've got that. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was unnecessary, and it was a lot. But I think a lot of people probably experienced it. And also, I mean, some of the things that I wanted to do and wanted to achieve, they weren't bad things. Like, you know, just wanting to develop a habit, it's not a bad thing. So some of it can be good to sort of like set yourself up some goals of things you want to do by 30. But it doesn't have to be that, oh, if you don't achieve those things, and it's like, kaboom. No, it's fine, at your own pace. I think something else that's also quite important about being in that phase is also just, you know, building strong, genuine connections with people, because then you can talk to people, you can hear their experiences, and you can know, oh yeah, somebody else that's like me, somebody else has experienced this. Because then the worst bit of that fear is that if you're feeling alone, and if you're feeling that nobody can understand what you're feeling, I feel like that can really help you or make you spiral quite a bit. And last but not least, hold on. So here's to you, choosing your own timeline, celebrating your own achievements, and being bold. Hope you're enjoying this year and all the years to come.